Recently, I read this book called Demand Side Sales. It's written by Bob Moesta and Greg. These people basically just asked a question how people shop and why people buy. Their theory is that sales don't happen randomly. There is usually a common pattern to sales, and it mostly goes in the same path. I found it quite interesting in terms of the frameworks they share. What they say is customers don't just buy products, they hire them to do a job, right? What they say is no one is buying up actually your product, they're buying that service or something that solves the problem that they're having. Jobs to be done is the progress that person is trying to make in a particular struggling circumstance. Understanding jobs to be done by your customer and the progress they are trying to make, what is the situation they are in, what is the outcome they seek, what are the trade-offs they are willing to make. So all these are things that we as designers also talk about. What does user really want, right? So we'll talk about three things today, and all are like quite interesting. You can stop me in between if there are any questions. So first one is four forces of progress, which explains how people buy stuff. Second is the JTBD timeline, which is jobs to be done timeline, which is how buyers move from not buying to buying. And what are the motivations that come into play when someone buys something? It's not just as simple as I thought of it and I bought it. There are actually a bunch of functional, emotional, and social factors that are behind every purchase decision. So we'll start with the forces of progress. Just to explain the diagram, in the center, you see this is a person who is the customer, or not a customer, a person. The top two forces are promoting a new choice. On the right side, we have a purchase made. So a new behavior was accepted. On the left side, the business goes as usual, where you're not making a change, you're not buying a new product, right? Bottom two forces block the change. So, bottom two things, if they are greater, person will not buy something, but if the top two forces are greater, person will end up buying something. So let's understand. The first force here is push of the situation, which is what is the problem, right? Usually it starts with acknowledging what am I struggling with. So let's say you wake up one day and you realize that I didn't really sleep very well, my back is stiff, something is up with my mattress, right? So you acknowledge that there is a push of the situation ki something is going wrong in my life. Then you come to the pull of the solution, which is now right away you see an ad which says orthopedic mattresses from Sleep Company. And then you're like, oh, yeah, this is what I was struggling with. It helps with backache and I will sleep better. So this is a magnetism of a new solution. You're like, oh, wow, this is the problem I'm struggling with. And this is the solution that they're offering me. Now, the solution comes with anxiety of a new solution. Is it really going to work? I don't know this orthopedic technology. What are they doing? What foam are they using? Why is it so expensive? What is this company, sleep company? I don't know much about it. A lot of these questions come into the what if I buy this mattress and it's not really helping my back? How do I know it's actually going to work? I can't just wear it like shoes and see it's comfortable. I have to actually sleep on it. So much anxiety comes with it, right? And then also comes a habit of present, which is since the beginning, I've been sleeping on coir mattress. My family sleeps on coir mattress. What is this new technology they're talking about? It's going to fix my back. You are like comfortable in a certain way. Why go for a change, right? So you see the top two forces when they're higher, when there is a high push, high pull of the solution, you're like, I want to buy something. And then the bottom two forces are like, I'm not sure. Things are all right anyway. Currently, you're not going to buy stuff. If the top two are greater, you're going to tip, go to the new behavior. If the bottom two are greater, you're going to stay where you are. So, very interesting, like very simple way to think about it. And that's why you will now, maybe when you're seeing ads or anything, try to fit it in this. Like when I now understand key mattress companies, that's why give sleep on it for 30 days and you can return it, right? Because people have anxiety, what if this doesn't work for me? So they are trying to fix this force to not work against them. If you go to these mattress showrooms, they'll show you the cross section of the foam and everything. Why? Because they're trying to explain that it's better than your coir mattress, what technology is going in, right? And then generally you will see someone having a backache. So this is like reminding you that, are you having this problem? You are having a struggling moment. And this is why our matters. So we'll see different type of ads focusing on different things because they want you to buy something. Now, this one is super interesting. I personally sort of really enjoyed understanding this concept. So this is jobs to be done timeline, which is events and actions to make progress. There are events to move people along the timeline. We need to understand the buyer at very granular level. What happened that made them say, today is the day I'm going to buy, right? Everyone has a different context, circumstance. You make these impulsive buying decisions or something happened in someone's life. But what these people say is that usually everyone goes through the same pattern. There is no impulsive decision. You just don't know what has been happening in their life from before. That's what makes it very interesting. So, a quick glance at how does this timeline look like? Usually, you have a first thought where you acknowledge ki, ha, I in my life there is problem. Then there is passive looking that starts where you're not really putting much effort, but you're like noticing it now. Yeah, I see. This is something that I was looking for. Then certain event happens in your life and you're like, you know what, now I have to take this seriously, let me actively look for this product. Then another event happens in your life and then you're like, no, I have to make a decision now, let me go ahead with purchasing and then I'll consume the product, right? So what I'll do is I'll read a little bit about each step and then we'll take an example as well so that we understand. There is actually a very nice interview where the writers of this book take an interview of a person who just bought a car, right? So very relevant for us as well. So who just bought a car, a little bit about that person. This is the guy who somewhere in his 30s or married and has like a newborn baby. We'll take the same example of how this person went through this JTBD timeline. So when you finally have the first thought, I have a problem. This is the critical first step for you to buy. Before this step, there is no space in your mind to file information about the product or service. So you will also realize until you don't really acknowledge the situation, there are, I don't know, lakhs of products around you, but you don't pay attention to them because they are of no use to you. But as soon as you start facing that particular problem, you suddenly start to notice a lot more of it. This is the first thought. So what happens is this guy and his wife were have been like renting the car. It's in the US, it's very easy to rent a car everywhere it's available. It's cheaper because if you're not commuting every day, then no worry of the maintenance and they use public transport. They were never thinking of buying their own car. But as soon as they had a baby, in the couple of rental trips, they realized that now every time they have to go there, with the stuff the baby comes along with and the that safety seat that they have to all the time tie and then remove it every time. So they were like, this is taking too much time now. Every time I go, when we go somewhere, it's like added 40 minutes of just fixing, settling the kit, putting the stuff in the trunk, getting it out. It was becoming a problem. So this was the first thought this person thought, I think we should buy a car. Passive looking. You notice the stores when you pass them now. People can passively look for years if there is no event pushing them to the next step on the timeline. It's the act of figuring it out as you go through life. You have a nagging feeling, you're struggling, but you don't know enough to move forward. Passive looking is about learning. So, what happens is this person starts to notice every dealership on the way now. Whenever they're going somewhere, it's like, oh, this car is good. Or even when they're renting, oh, this Honda is good, or whatever, this Hyundai car is good. I'm passively just observing what can work for me, what can not work for me. I'm just learning about this whole area of automobile, right? So, this is passive looking. Now, what happens is because you have been living a certain life and you're comfortable with it, right? So there is this force of current habit. Why do I have to move forward to actually just indulge into like really buying it? Like you will keep saying to someone, yeah, yeah, we are also thinking of buying a car, but you don't really go forward with it until this event happens. So in this person's life, an event happens where his wife would go to her parents' house every couple of months, and the parents' house is few hours away from their town, and she would usually take a train to that place. One night, what she does is she takes a rental car to the station, she returns the car, packs and whatever. Then she reaches the station. For some reason, she misses the train. The next train is in 2 hours, and this is night time and super cold. So she's sort of like stranded on the station with a little baby, and she's like just feeling sad about it. And then she calls her husband ki, this is what happened. Husband feels terrible, like, we should get a car, man. Like, this is bad. She's struggling. It wouldn't have happened if we had a car. She would have just simply drove to her parents' house, right? This is the event that took place that triggered the active looking phase. Now, this is the time when people plan, spend time, even money, figuring out what's next, the solution to their struggling moment. In order to move forward, people need options, but not too many. These options allow them to to build an ideal solution in their mind. They notice discrete, independent features and attributes and start connecting the dots to frame the future trade offs. They start to invest time, effort, and money to figure it out and often bring people into the process. Now, active looking, this person starts to see the ads, calls the nearby dealerships. Hey, I'm looking for such and such car. He schedules appointments. He starts going to visit these dealerships. He goes dealership number one. He has some specific criteria ki I don't really care a lot about bunch of things, but I need a comfortable car in a very fixed budget, which can accommodate my family. Like, I have a baby, I need whatever back seat should have space. And some things he has in particular, ki I don't like the panel of this brand or the fitting of this brand. So maybe there is some filtering criteria. This person goes and finally he decides on, okay, I want to buy X car, right? Now, after seeing couple of options, what he thinks is, ki in my budget, I can get a very good certified used car, which is certified by the OEM and significant price drop. So I can get actually the higher trim in the same price and I don't mind using the used car. So he comes to that conclusion. Now he is actually pretty sure what he's buying because he has visited these dealerships. One thing that he's sort of struggling with is ki no one is coming to a price point that he's looking for. So he goes to dealership one and he's like, I want it for this price, says, I'll talk to my manager, comes back after 10 minutes. We can't do this. He makes another offer. Can you try this much? He's like, let me go talk to my manager. He gets frustrated. Arey, then can I talk to your manager directly? Like, no, I can help you. He goes to this dealership two, same thing happens. Dealership three is frustrated. He's like, I'll I'll think about it. I'll come back. Again, he's active looking stages somewhere paused because you're frustrated because you're not able to find the deal that you're looking for. Now, usually the event number two has to happen where it's also great if it's time bound. That's why you see things like the sale ends in X minutes or whatever, because if you see time bound thing, you're like, I have to make a decision now, otherwise I'll lose this deal. So the second event happens where this guy, what he does is he sees an ad on, I think, Craig's List or something, where he's like, a nearby dealership has this car in the exact price range that I'm looking for. He calls them up right away. Hey, I'm looking for the same car. Can I come visit your store? It's a used car, so you know it's not going to be there for a very long time, and it's a great deal. So he visits the dealership. He enters the dealership, which looks pretty shady. So it's like a random yard, and he's like, "What the hell is this place?" But he goes anyway, talks to this person. Person talks nicely, says, "This is the car. It's not certified pre-owned. It's just a used car." He's like, okay, can I take a test drive? He takes a test drive. It drives fantastic. So it's like really good car, but there are issues with the whole setup. So he's confused. Can you allow me to take this car to my service person so I can make sure this car is good? Like, this looks pretty shady. So the dealership person is like, "ठीक है, I'll go take it." So then this guy goes to his known dealership, gets the service guys, can you check this car and let me know how this is? And the service guy is like, this is a wonderful car. It's almost new, just under an year bought and very less miles on it. You should go for it. This guy comes. Now, here's where people make trade offs, ultimately decide what they want. When buying, there is no ideal solution. The customer makes trade offs. People need to reject something before they can buy something else. So, this is the time when you give them options and then you really try to understand what are they not willing to nudge on, right? So, this person was super this thing on the price. So, he's willing to make a trade off. Things look shady, I'm willing to not buy a certified pre-owned, but the price is good. So I'm going to trade off and go for the price. He goes ahead and makes the purchase, then starts the onboarding, which is usually like good for digital, but also physical products. So a customer is having the first use of the product or service and measuring that against their experience to see if they bought what they think they bought. Onboarding can be thought of as a big hire, whereas ongoing use is a little higher. So now onboarding, usually what happens is the key flows, the primary things that you do on the product. In this case, let's say driving a car. So shifting gears and acceleration or pickup, those type of things, you if they are not great in the very first hire, then you are like, this is not a great car. So in your test driving, that's where your onboarding is happening. You're gonna not like the car if that doesn't go well. And then the ongoing use comes into play where you're like using the car for a while now, all these flows you're getting adjusted to, which means maybe now I'm lacking certain things about the infotainment system, the adjustable seats or ventilated seats. So these are the small hires which I'm like, I like this product. I'm enjoying using it. Right. So this is broadly the timeline of a person who buys anything, right? And how we can use it is what I tried writing here is key. Now, what do we do with it? And if you think about it, I used to always be confused, ki, yaar, who the hell would get a loan on a call of a person, right? Like from Banky, get 10 lakh ka loan. And I'm like, who would ever say, yeah, give me the loan, right? But what I realized later is maybe this person is somewhere in this phase because I've not even given it a first thought. That's why it sounds so irrelevant to me. But someone who is actively looking for a loan, maybe when they get a call, they are like, let me go make a jump here. So that's to move them forward in the timeline. So there are people in different parts of the timeline, always, all of us. And what does one do to move them forward, right? And I think all the efforts are to find the right person who is at certain step and move them forward. So if someone is at the first thoughts, like someone has not even realized that they need something, you need to trigger the first thought. How do you do that? By making space. Help them acknowledge their struggling moment, right? So you would remember those tele communicate that those ads. Is the hair fall bothering you? And then you are like, oh yeah, I also have the same problem. Passive looking is learning how. So surface the knowledge they should have about the product or service. So now in this phase, the people who are, they're passively started to look. If they don't know much about the industry or the product area, they are usually going to keep delaying it. If you make the customers educated about certain things, what ends up happening is they become confident. And if they are confident, they are going to go ahead for the decision, right? So expose them to the knowledge, share more about the product, and mostly they will move to the next phase. Active looking, seeing possibilities, share options to help them build an ideal solution in their mind. Until you are in that zone, nowadays it's like everyone is somehow having less protein in their life, right? So everywhere is protein. Everyone's like, I don't know what protein is, how it's made, what is happening in this world. Now, suddenly I'm comparing what is isolate, what is plant, what is concentrate, what is happening. So until I see this world of protein, this brand is giving for this much, this brand is giving, I'm not going to take a decision until I'm like, Tharuki, this suits my need. I would want to see everything that's around there, right? So until you get that done, I'm not going to move forward because maybe I don't know enough about it. Then comes the decision phase where you make trade off. Help them pick what they value more and take a decision, right? Every customer will always think, I want the best one out there. But everyone always knows that there is some trade off. If you're really going for that, which means your trade off is your budget now, you're paying much higher price. But if you want a certain price, then what are you okay to miss out on? Everyone is going to do that. And ideally, a good salesperson or good any person who is involved in the sales process should not make them feel like you're compromising by buying a certain product, but you're actually taking a right decision, right? So that's why this person shouldn't feel like, oh, I'm buying not a pre-certified car. It's a loss from my side. No, I'm getting a wonderful deal on this car, is what the feeling should be. Then the first use, making progress, help them experience the upfront value. All of our products, all of our modules have some of the key flows, which is, let's say, creating an RO or creating a lead, flow, whatever, right? So these are the things which upfront on day zero, they will go and experience. They should be fantastic. If there is some problem with that, right away, first impression is bad. Then comes the ongoing use, where you enable everyday task completion and promote a behavior, which is where your learning bits come into the play, your onboarding, your sentiment, giving them certain happy, whatever messaging, which is like, oh, this product is nice. I enjoy using it. And then you keep going, ongoing use. So this is quite an interesting visualization as well. First thought, then you passively look, you're not going much, then you sort of diverge, exploring everything, then you converge, and then you go for it, and then you continue using it. Right. All right. Now, what can we do about it? How can we know about our product? You should do interviews. There is nothing better than just talking to the customer. We just don't really know much about how to talk to them. So that's why we come back and say, why did you buy? Like, I was out and I saw this offer and I just bought it. So you would feel like this putting a big offer outside works, but you don't know what has been happening in their life that this offer made them come to your store. So they say, go talk to them. 3 interviews with people who just bought your product, 3 interviews with people who just left your product and went on to another one, and 3 interviews with people who are in the middle of buying the product. And this should help you understand the causality. There is a cause to everything that you move forward in the timeline. It's like a domino. It's never that just the last domino falls on itself. There is bunch of series of events that have been happening that made you fall into buying the product. So this is it.